Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and solve a set of equations by graphing. We're gonna do this by hand. There's lots of methods to do this, but here you have a set of linear equations. There we go. And a pretty typical problem you'd find in an Algebra 1 or Algebra 2 textbook. And I just want to show you how to do this by hand. Now we could do it with technology and it'd take a couple seconds, but let's go ahead and graph this thing manually. So what I do when I graph, there's lots of ways to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and solve each equation for y. So I've got that y plus 5 equals 2x. And so you would go ahead and looks like we need to subtract 5 from both sides of the equation to get y all alone. And so y equals 2x minus 5. And then the bottom equation is, we'll go ahead and solve that one. So we've got 3y plus 6x equals negative 3. And so for that one, I'll subtract the 6x over. And so 3y equals negative 6x minus 3. Then I would divide everything by 3 to get rid of that. We're just doing inverse operations. And so y equals negative 2x minus 1. All right. So I'm going to move this over just a little and drag it down. And, oops, a little too far. So there's our two equations. So there's a couple ways you could do this. We're looking for all the points that make this true. And we could make a table of values if you wanted to. I'm just going to skip to the trick since this is just something I build for my students to practice with. And so I'll add a piece of graph paper here. So let me pull that up, my content. Pull in a piece of graph paper. There it is. I'll move it just a little bit here and we'll get to graphing. Alright, so the first thing, if you go ahead and graph that top one, you all know that y equals mx plus b m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. This is a slope-intercept form of an equation. And so by solving for y, we have put it in the form that gives us those two things. That should be intercept. Sorry, ran out of room. So in this case, my slope is 2, my y-intercept is negative 5. This is my y-axis, this is my x-axis. So I will do my y-intercept to negative 5, 1, 2, 3, which would be right here. That's 0, negative 5. And then my slope is 2. And so I always put that over 1 so I can get a rise over run out of it. So I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. If you can count as I do this, up 2 over 1. Going the opposite way would be down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1. And so there's the equation. There's all the points that make that first equation true. Then my second one, my y-intercept is negative 1. So I go down to negative 1. And my slope, I've already forgotten it, is negative 2. And again, I'd put that over 1. So that means to go down to right 1. Down to right 1. Down to right 1. And there's the equation of your second line. So this particular graph meets at 1 comma negative 3. So you found where that meets. Now if you wanted to, you could go ahead and graph this. Ignore the two graphs I have there. But you could also graph it with technology. This is GeoGebra. And so down here in the input field, I could put those two equations. So let me get them here. I've already forgotten them. 2y equals negative 2x minus 1. So let me drag this up so we can see it. Now let's type that in. Y equals negative 2x minus 1. And, oh, and I see my scale is funky. Let me change the scale so I'm going by ones. There we go. So it looks about the same. There we go. And then my other equation was y equals 2x minus 5. And I'll go to where those two lines meet. I'll stick in a point, and what I'm doing here is I've got a set of values. I want to add a new point, maybe where the two objects meet. And I'll click on the two objects, and there it be 1, negative 3, which we found by hand. So that just verifies my answer. You could also plug 1, negative 3 into the two equations and also verify that that's true. So there you have it. That is how you graph a set of linear equations and find where they intersect, or find what point is true in both. So there's other options. I mean, it could have happened that the two lines didn't meet, or you could have had the option where the two lines were the same line and they were right over the top of each other. So we'll talk about those in other videos. So best of luck, hope this helps, and see you next time.